Okay, so welcome to the video, you guys. And I'm just doing a little warm-up here, drawing some ovals. And I like to draw the oval with the straight lines. And because these few marks are what's going to make up the entire head, the structure of the head. So I stack these here, and I'll put a little eye line there. They're just little warm-up sketches. I have fun drawing them. Sometimes I draw them from all angles, but these I'm just drawing straight forward, little eyes there. And that's pretty much it. It just gets me in the groove and ready to start working on the structure of the head. Okay? So we'll go ahead and move into that. Okay, so we're going to work on simple head structure today, all right? We're going to work on blocking the head in, and basically we're going to find the placement of the head. I'm going to give you guys some good information that you can practice with. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible, and we're not going to make, go into tons of detail and everything. We've had some questions and people asking if I can slow down the block-in process and the structure part of it. And so that's what we're going to do on this video, and we'll go ahead and get started. So what I would do is, you can see the portrait down here. I'm basically going to look for, let's say I'd have the head in this area here, right? Maybe something like this. It's just a block of clay, right? And let's say I had the top here, and let's say maybe I have my chin there, right? Mandible is going to be about there, and then I need to find the side plane. Now, what I'm doing, okay, I'm going to explain to you guys here. This is the trick, okay? You can start off with a simple egg, like a block of clay, okay? That works really well. I like to do that sometimes. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's like you see, hey, I mark the top here, the egg comes down here. It's like sculpting. You don't have to be so attached to it that you're like afraid to make marks on the paper, We're not starting out, I'm not starting out in here and, modeling inside of the eye socket and then, the pupil and none of that stuff, right? We don't want to worry about any of that right now. All we need is to think about this as a sculpture in like big shapes pretty much. So let's find out. Let's see. The neck probably will come down to probably about there. The suprasternal notch. Let's see here. The angle there. Probably. And we got the side plane. So what I'll look for is the occipital, which is back here. So I'm looking for that. So outermost projecting points, pretty much what I'm looking for. And right away I'm thinking of the angles, right? So if you look at the mental down here, which is down here, the chin, I'm assigning an angle to it, right? I'm not like guessing and trying to be unsure, like, oh, maybe it's like that or like that or like that. I'm not doing that, okay? I'm saying, okay, this is pretty much a box, the head, right? So I want these angles to relate. All right, angle here, side plane of the head, that's an angle. And the occipital back there, boom, there's an angle, right? I could probably bring that all the way down. It looks like it's, yeah, we could just come all the way down with that. The neck's down here. So that's fine for now. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it in the ballpark. Now, let's look for the side plane, right? We got this side plane here. Let's take a long line, right? Let's see if I'm judging distances, right? I'm judging the distance from here to the temporalis and then to the edge here. So, I got a photo here, so I can just go like that. But when we draw from life, that's what you want to be thinking of, those distances and trying to judge those with your eye before you measure. So first what I'll do is I'll state it, and then later on, if I really want it to be super accurate, it may be pretty darn close. I'm not sure yet. I think I will have to come over a little with that neck. Tiny bit. It's okay. But you notice when I make my lines, I think I'm going to do a separate video on how to hold the pencil and draw. This is how you hold the pencil, right? So when I'm moving, you guys see me draw like this. That's how I'm doing it. This is just a cheap big pencil. You can use whatever you want. A lot of times I like to use newsprint and charcoal pencils if I really want to start putting in some brushwork and getting fancy. But for now, teaching purposes, we just want you guys just grab a graphite pencil and start practicing this, right? Doesn't matter what paper it's on. Could be the cheapest paper you find, as long as you're practicing, right? That's what you got to do. Okay, so this right now, so the head is pretty much like it's like a box, you know? It's like a box. You can think of it, as such. If it helps you, right? However it helps you. You put the egg in there. It's just a simple box. Now let's look for we're just going to try to find the brow line. Now I'm not going to make the brow line. Remember the angles, okay? I'm just going to try to relate them, right? So I'm going to go with that for the angle. Okay. I want to relate these angles here. Make sure that they're working. Now I think I'll probably have to go a little bit higher with it. As I'm judging distances, I'm just kind of eyeballing it right now. I could very easily, you can just hold, you could measure from the paper if you wanted to, but you need to train your eye. So, but just practicing this is going to help you tremendously with life drawing, because you're going to know what to draw. Okay, very simple so far. Now, we've got our brow line here, and let's find, I think I need to find the middle line or center line, sagittal line. People call it all kind of names for it. But some people call it an antenna. You create this. What you end up doing is, you kind of see this with, when you see people drawing like Loomis heads and stuff like that, when they come down with it, and then they find that cross, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing here. Finding that cross. And then let's see, the bottom of the nose probably would be about there. Now, as you notice, I'm not worried about, this is probably, I think I'm going to move the side plane over a tiny bit. It's close, but move it over a little bit. See, by drawing large, you're really able to see when you look at it, and you say, okay, well, what's off on it, right? What's off on it? Not when you start with the eyes, nose, and mouth. That's probably not going to happen, right? Now, he's looking up, right? You can see that. So what will be happening, we can go ahead and look for that keystone wedge here, part of this eye socket. Now, we define the bottom of the eye socket, and that looks pretty good. It's going to come down about halfway on the nasal bone. About there. It looks pretty good so far. Now, I think I'm just going to mark a location for where the mouth would be, approximately. Right about there. That looks pretty good. And let's mark where he doesn't really have a hairline, but the frontal eminence, which is part of the frontal bone here. I'm going to mark that. And let's see, let me take a look, and remember to slow down when you're drawing. You don't have to go super fast. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, an easy way to find out if you're drawing from life, you can hold up your pencil like this. You look at the model, and then I'll just kind of tilt the pencil and find the angle and say, okay, well, here's an angle. This is just a real simple way to do it. And you can find from the top of the brow line down, and then the bottom of the nose down. Find the angles here. You want to relate them. So the ear is going to probably be right about in there. Something like that. Actually, it may come out a little more. But that's fine for now. We can always move that. It's just getting started, finding locations. That's what you want to do. So without getting into too much anatomy, some of the important things that you just want to remember, like will come down here. You want to look for, what I love to look for, kind of the side plane of the nose in this area here. I also look for, well, in this pose, what we have is, okay, let's go ahead and draw this. We're looking up, right? So as you can see with the eye socket there, that's going to come out a little bit more. Oop. There. So it'll be something like this, right? So the structure of it, right? And this is just how I would start it, you know? Of course, we're going to go in and find these subtle articulations, and we're going to find these shadow shapes and things like this. But at first, just keep it real blocky, you know? You can keep adjusting everything. It's a real nice way to draw, because it really gives you opportunity to correct. Okay, so let's see here. If we come down, the angle of the jaw is probably going to be in that area. Down here. Yep. I have to keep leaning over to draw like this. One important thing that I'll remind you guys, the eye socket here, I'm going to bring that over. I correct things all the time, and that's drawing. The sooner you get used to not being perfect and moving things around, the easier it's going to be. You just get unattached from this stuff after a while. Okay, so I'm going to just draw a rhythmic line coming through where the eyes would be, something like that, right? And then maybe that would pretty much be where the eye cover fold would be. And I'm just marking locations right now. They're gonna, of course, they would get changed later, but that just gives you kind of an idea. We're looking up, so that's working pretty good. I like to find plumb lines, so I may drop a plumb line from, the corner of the nose to the side of the mouth, and mark a location. Maybe I'll find a plumb line. Where does the corner of the mouth fall? I'll look for where I can plumb those things. It comes over pretty far, and I'll mark a location. Okay? Only locations right now. And then we got our little box. But you see, I keep it real structural. I haven't been putting in a lot of rhythms. A lot of times I like to draw with structure and rhythms. I like to combine both of those, but I find it easier. I've noticed when people are learning that it's easier for them to stick with these straights for a while. Just stick with using the straights, and then later on, you can begin to find rhythms. You can find the muzzle. You can relate some anatomical points, landmarks that you may find on the head. And then just kind of, keep drawing through. Find what relates to what on the portrait, okay? One side to the other. Just like that. Like I may come around here and see how the whole thing relates. It comes down. See, I just have like this long rhythm in here. So I just kind of feel that, and I'll kind of put it in for the initial start here. So far, I'm pretty happy with it. And like I said, just locations of things for now is good. Nothing has to be perfect. And I think that looks pretty good. You can keep checking angles. As you draw, the more time you spend on it, you'll keep chiseling it out. Things like this. Let's see here. The zygomatic bone here. I'll just relate from one side to the other. Just like that. Okay, I want to keep it simple for you guys. This is a very basic beginning stage of the drawing. That right there is enough to give you enough to practice and to work with. So thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time.